Coming up on show 792, Rivian could follow Tesla into their own insurance. But how do we know? Well, stick around and I'll tell you more. Plus on the show today, Volkswagen investing in China and moving forward with their Ford EV deal as well. Elon Musk takes Jay Leno for a drive, or should that be the other way round? And you've seen this story about Uber sending thousands of e-bikes to the recycling heap. I've got the details for you. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily, the edition for Thursday, 28th of May. My name is Martyn Lee, and I go through every EV story, so you don't have to. Well, thank you as always to myev.com for helping make the show. They've been supporting this show for near on a couple of years now. I should look back at the first date, shouldn't I? MyEV is the world's first marketplace for EVs, totally free to use, and it really simplifies the buying and selling process, and it will connect you with the people that you need to be connected with. Well, let's start with this VW story. Moving forward with the Ford EV deal, Volkswagen said today that their supervisory board had just approved several projects in a multi-billion-dollar alliance with Ford that was announced last July. Now, I just figured when they announce it, it's because it's happening, but turns out that it's a bit like they hadn't asked permission. They'd said what they were going to do, but then they had to go home and ask Mum if they really could stay out a little bit later than normal. Well, they are, and VW said various contracts between the two companies are moving forward, and it all will be signed off soon, says Autoblog. Among the shared projects, if you remember, VW are making a midsize pickup developed by Ford and a city delivery van developed by VW. There's a large commercial van developed by Ford and the EV platform by VW. It's going both ways on this one. A new electric vehicle for Europe, actually, this is. So it's not the Mustang Mach-E. This is a Ford EV based on the Volkswagen MEB platform, which will be licensed to Ford from VW, and I'm sure they won't mind making a few quid out of some licensing fees as well. Right, staying with Volkswagen as well, I want to just give you an insight into the money that's pouring into EV investment right now, because although we know it's the future, you know and I know this is the future, and all the car execs know it's the future, so many of them have got such long lead times to make these projects happen. They have to be spending money now if in the next 5 years they want to be making a lot of EVs. Well, Volkswagen has become the biggest shareholder in China's electric vehicle battery maker. I think I pronounced them Grosjean. Grosjean High-Tech Company Limited, and Volkswagen just bought more than a quarter of the controlling interest, a 26.5% stake, taking a management stake in the company as well, according to a stock exchange filing today. Reuters reporting that Volkswagen is in final talks to invest in the Hefei-based battery company, and according to Economic Times, Volkswagen is also poised to buy 50% of Nui Jinghuai Automobile Group Holding. That's the parent of the EV partner JAC Motors. And that looks like it's going to be a 3.5 billion yuan investment. People have said on conditions of anonymity, as the matter is private, but those investments are indeed happening. Well, Volkswagen spending 2 billion euros, that's $2.2 billion, to expand their presence in China's electric car industry, in the biggest foreign investment announced since the country's economy began to reopen following coronavirus. Well, the ruling Communist Party scrapped the limits on foreign ownership of EV makers in 2018. It's what allowed Tesla to build their Giga Shanghai and be completely 100% owned by Tesla, not a joint venture. It's all about promoting industry development. Well, Beijing sees EVs as a profitable technology where China can become a global leader, so they're really encouraging it as well, and Volkswagen are eyeing up a massive market in China. But let me just come full circle. Let me come full circle on this story. And when we first began, Volkswagen is becoming the biggest shareholder of China's electric vehicle battery maker. The headline of this story should be, blame the podcast person that wrote the headline, the headline I should have written, VW just became a battery maker. Not investing in another battery maker, not signing a supply contract with LG Chem or SK Innovation. They've just taken the biggest share of China's EV battery maker. I think it's fair to say, and it wouldn't be hyperbole, it wouldn't be clickbait to say VW just got into the battery-making business in a very big way. And if it hadn't been for this story, I think the news would have passed most people by. That's an enormous piece of news. I'm going to follow this one really, really closely. Okay, let's talk Rivian. Headline story today reports that Rivian could be offering their own insurance like Tesla does. Well, Rivian has 2 job postings they've just posted onto their website. They are looking for the data manager for their new insurance agency, with the job requirement being to set up and lead Rivian's insurance agency, training and managing licensed sales agents. There's another job position as well for a program manager for their repair program, according to the Rivian forum. I'll pop a link in the show notes to the website lever.co, which is where Rivian posted the job. Now, the job spec says the Rivian insurance team is seeking an extraordinary sales leader with a track record of success to set up and lead Rivian's insurance agency. You'll be joining a passionate group of professionals on an adventure to transform consumer experiences. This is what you'll do: recruit, train, coach, and manage Rivian employed licensed sales agents and insurance customer care team. You'll sell insurance products and provide feedback to partners on opportunities. You'll lead the licensed sales team responsible for sales and distribution of Rivian Insurance. You'll manage licensed sales agents. You'll define and implement all aspects of the insurance sales and service processes. You'll collaborate on the strategic vision for Rivian Insurance. You'll manage sales relationships with partners, and you'll develop insurance quotes and close sales. I wonder what this job could be. It doesn't initially read to me as a like-for-like Tesla insurance. If you know what I mean, like Tesla insurance seems like on another level, a whole different ball game in terms of the size. This is just only 2 ads, and really one job ad that's all about looking for a sales agency person. But I wonder whether it's going to be a sub part of their business, or maybe Rivian are just going to start small and say, look, we're going to offer our own insurance and see how we go. So I wonder, maybe it's opening of the floodgates, or maybe it's just a little side project and I'm reading too much into it. We're going to watch that one closely as well. So Elon Musk and Franz von Holzhausen. He's Tesla's chief designer. They both appeared in an NBC show with Jay Leno. Jay Leno's Garage. A bit of a chit-chat about design and showing off the motorized bed cover of the Tesla Cybertruck. It's called the Volt, and it reveals the Cybertruck's bed. Elon even jumped up onto the cover to show how strong it is, says CNET. Video starts with Elon pulling up in the red Tesla semi-truck, going through the history of the company a little bit, why the cars are called Sexy, or S3XY, and we didn't really learn anything. There was a lot of hype, of course, like anything Elon, where he gives his time to do some media, it's going to be hyped beyond belief. We didn't really learn anything substantial in this video. CNET says that Elon Musk then directed Jay Leno to take the Cybertruck into a boring company tunnel, apparently the first time that the pickup truck had made its way into the test tunnels of the boring company, and luckily, would you believe it, it only just fits. Well, I'm amazed that a TV show that happened to have the cameras already down in the tunnel, that was lucky, wasn't it? Because it did, the way that it was scripted, I'm sure it wasn't scripted. NBC just like to have cameras in places in case Cybertrucks drive past. So their off-the-cuff decision to drive underneath Los Angeles, and I mean, luckily the Cybertruck fit. I mean, what are the odds? They showed that you could drive a Cybertruck through a boring tunnel without dinging it, and at the end of it, there's even someone waiting to operate the lift back up to street level. Again, very lucky that person was there waiting for them. Maybe they're just stationed somewhere there in case Elon ever just feels like he wants to drive down the tunnel. That's what it'll be. That's what it'll be. The only thing that I guess we did learn in the TV show is that Elon said the Cybertruck will be getting 5% smaller, but then since then he's tweeted and saying it won't be the case. The Cybertruck is staying as it is, and if it needs to be smaller, they'll make a separate smaller truck. I'll pop a link to CNET in the show notes, and if you're interested, by the way, not that I had to use my US VPN to watch this at all, nice American adverts that I didn't have to watch first. Interesting segment, NBC.com Season 5, Episode 510 of Jay Leno's Garage. Right, Uber is next, and you may have seen this story on social media today. They're sending thousands of electric bikes to the recycling scrapyard as part of handing operations of their Jump e-bike division to the scooter sharing company Lime. Well, the rideshare giant said it would be too difficult to donate these bikes because of safety and liability concerns. A spokesman told CNBC the best approach was to recycle them, which to me looks like being picked up by a giant crane and dumped somewhere, probably to be, I don't know, melted down, because they're just, every time they drop them out of the big crane, the big hook, they just get wrecked, so they can't exactly then have somebody carefully undoing every nut and bolt. I wonder how they're being recycled. A video posted on Twitter from a North Carolina recycling centre shows the candy red bikes being crushed, says Engadget. Now, an Uber spokesperson told CNBC, we did explore donating the remaining older model bikes, but given many significant issues, including maintenance, liability, safety concerns, and a lack of consumer-grade charging equipment, we decided the best approach was to responsibly recycle them. End quote. Well, an e-bike without a battery is simply called a bike, I believe, and those bikes can actually be ridden without a battery in. So if that's valuable to take out the batteries from the e-bikes, then go ahead and do that. But can you imagine how many schools, community projects could have done with a donation of 1, 2, 5, 20 bikes rather than thousands upon thousands? And they're just turning up by these videos that have been posted online. Uber are just sending truckload after truckload into these scrapyards to be, recycled as they hand operations of Jump over to Lime. It's really sad, isn't it? Like, what a consumption world we live in, where we've made and we've used the planet's natural resources to make tens of thousands of electric bikes, and then because of, well, by the looks of it, because of liability concerns and safety, aka Uber don't want to be sued, the thing they have to do is scrap them. It's really sad. Super sad. It's such a waste as well. Whether that metal is then recycled, and I'm sure it will be, and there's some value in that as well, but as assembled bikes for kids that would like one, or for projects, jeez. That makes me sad, that story. But the batteries have been removed, and so I wonder whether that means that someone somewhere bought them as a job lot, and they'll be hitting eBay, and maybe if you're doing your own little e-bike project, little weekend hobby project or something, and you're cruising around online on eBay or on those marketplaces to pick up some second-hand e-bike batteries, if you are doing a project like that, well, maybe this will benefit you, because maybe there'll be a sudden influx of batteries and cells onto the market. You never know. Okay, moving on. Nissan yesterday unveiled its 4-year growth plan. Nissan will, what they say, right-size themselves. They're going to right-size their production capacity and streamline unprofitable parts of the business. And Nissan is introducing one EV to the US in 2021. It's called the Ariya. And the rest of their EVs are going to be sold in China. The company said by 2023 it's going to launch 8 pure EVs while expanding its hybrid technology dubbed e-Power, which isn't really an electric car because it hasn't got a plug socket on. I mean, if you haven't heard of e-Power, it's got an engine and it's got an electric motor and it's got a fuel tank, but the engine is a generator for electricity. And so the electric motor is what drives the wheels. The wheels aren't connected in any way to the internal combustion engine, but that just simply generates electricity, stores it in a tiny, 1 or 2 kilowatt hour battery. Wow, I wouldn't have one of those cars. I mean, think of how many cycles are going to go through that battery in the lifetime that you own the car. It's one thing having an EV-sized battery, but a tiny, tiny battery in an e-Power car? Nah, no thank you. I'm sure they've done their homework on this, but wouldn't be for me. Well, the Ariya is going to be hitting Japan in 2021 before arriving in other global markets. What is it, asks Electric? Well, the Ariya is a high-performance, all-wheel drive big brother to the Nissan Leaf. And few details are out there, no firm commitments on production dates yet, but when it does arrive, they're aiming for 300 miles and looking like a toned-down version of the Ariya concept we first saw last year at the Tokyo Motor Show. Well, Nissan's expected to officially unveil the production version of the Ariya next month. No, July. Keep thinking we're in June. We're not. We are a couple of days away, almost the end of the month. And so Monday is June, isn't it? Yeah, so it'll be July for the Nissan Ariya. Well, finally, I love good news stories like this, sent to me by one of my listeners. The Californian city of Pasadena is opening the Marengo Charging Plaza. The plaza is now home to 44 chargers, including 24 superchargers installed by Tesla and 20 fast chargers installed by the city of Pasadena. And this story picked up by Electrive, who say over the past year and a half, the city's utility company, Pasadena Water and Power, has doubled the number of public EV charging points within the city. This represents the highest percentage of EV drivers among Southern Californian utilities, and in order to support the opening of the plaza and support takeaway food services post-pandemic, or some would say during pandemic, because it's not really over, is it? The city's 20 fast chargers will be available to drivers of EVs if you stop at the plaza for 20 minutes or less. You can charge for free. I love stories where you hear about charging hubs going in. And if you spot one, if you hear of one, send it on to me and I'll pass it on to everyone who listens on the podcast, because good news like this is what we all need to give us a bit of a lift, and to know that these big charging hubs are being built, and hopefully one close to you, if that would make your life easier. Right, question of the week this week then. What are your desired specs for an electric pickup truck? I'd love to know. Is it performance? Is it size? Is it space to seat 5, 6, 7 adults? Is it all about technology, or what is it for you? What are your specs for an electric pickup truck? There's a few coming. I'd like to know if the manufacturers have got it right with what you want from them. You can email me hello@evnewsdaily.com or leave a comment on the YouTube show. Thank you very much to 227 patrons of this podcast, and another one to announce very, very soon. Premium partners are Phil Roberts of Electric Future, Brad Crosby, Avid Technology, Brightsmith Group for Clean Tech Talent, Porsche of the Village Cincinnati, and Audi of Cincinnati East. By the way, we just ticked over 2.5 million downloads of this podcast. Thank you very much as well. I had a look on the dashboard of my podcast host a little while ago, and I was 40 downloads short, and then the next time that I logged in and had blown through that. So yeah, just ticked over 2.5 million downloads, which is awesome. Thank you very much. If you're a regular listener or a first time listener, it's good to have you as part of the gang. You can always contact me anytime, email, socials and stuff. I love to hear from listeners. I'll have a good old chat about anything you want to talk about. I'd like to know that you are there and listening, where you listen, what the podcast does for you. Let me know, and maybe your next download will be the one that tips us over the next big milestone. I suppose we've done 2.5 million, so 3 million downloads? Wow, that'd be amazing. Let's see how quick we can that'll roll around. That'd be amazing. Thank you very much to everyone who listens to this show, and hopefully we can spread the word far and wide about EVs. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And remember, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.